After Israel's strike on Qatar, Qatari Prime Minister meets Donald Trump in New York over high-level dinner diplomacy. On a brisk Thursday evening in New York, inside the luxurious halls of a midtown hotel, an unusual but highly symbolic diplomatic encounter unfolded. Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim Al Thani, sat down with former U.S. President Donald Trump for a private dinner meeting. This gathering came at a particularly tense moment. Only days earlier, Israel had carried out a deadly strike on Qatar's capital, Doha, killing 5 Hamas members and a Qatari security official. The attack shocked not only the Qatari leadership but also the broader international community. Moments after the dinner concluded, the deputy head of Qatar's mission in the United States posted on X, formerly Twitter. "Great dinner with POTUS. Just ended." On the surface, the post seemed brief and celebratory. Yet behind those words lay layers of deep geopolitical implications, raising questions about the future of Qatar-US relations, Israel's aggressive strategy, and the trajectory of peace efforts in the Middle East. Background: the Israeli strike on Doha. Israel's strike on Doha took many by surprise. According to Israeli officials, the operation targeted high-ranking Hamas leaders allegedly operating from within Qatar, planning and financing militant activities in Gaza. The attack left 5 Hamas members dead along with a Qatari security officer. Qatar condemned the strike in the strongest terms, calling it a gross violation of international law and an attack on its sovereignty. Officials in Doha emphasized that this action not only endangered Qatar's national security but also dealt a serious blow to ongoing mediation efforts aimed at de-escalating the war in Gaza. For years, Qatar has served as a key mediator in negotiations between Israel and Hamas, hosting talks and providing humanitarian and financial support to Palestinians. The Israeli strike marked a turning point, transforming Qatar from a mediator into a direct victim of conflict. Global reaction: the international community responded with alarm. The United Nations labeled the strike deeply concerning and called for immediate investigations. Both the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) issued strong condemnations, voicing solidarity with Qatar. The United States, while refraining from harsh public criticism of Israel, expressed serious concern. U.S. officials warned that unilateral actions like this could undermine delicate peace efforts in the region. For Washington, the attack presented an uncomfortable dilemma, balancing its historic alliance with Israel while managing its strategic partnership with Qatar. Qatar-U.S. relations: a historical perspective. Relations between Washington and Doha have long been complex but strategically crucial. Qatar hosts the Al Udeid Air Base, the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East. From this base, the U.S. has launched operations across Iraq, Afghanistan, and the wider region. Still, tensions have often flared. In 2017, when Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt imposed a blockade on Qatar, then-President Donald Trump initially accused Doha of funding terrorism. Yet over time, Washington recalibrated its stance, recognizing Qatar's importance as a mediator and military ally. Today's renewed engagement, symbolized by Thursday's dinner, suggests that both nations may once again be finding common ground, particularly in the face of rising instability triggered by Israel's strike. The New York meeting: symbolism and substance. The timing of this meeting was no accident. It occurred just days after the strike, during the United Nations General Assembly week, when world leaders gathered in New York to address pressing global issues. By meeting Trump, Qatar's Prime Minister sought to directly engage with a powerful American political figure, signaling Qatar's intent to place Washington at the heart of its diplomatic response. According to diplomatic sources, the talks focused on 3 central themes: security and sovereignty after the Israeli strike. Qatar stressed to Trump that Israel's actions represented a direct assault on its sovereignty and could trigger wider instability. The Gaza crisis and Palestinian question. Qatar reaffirmed its commitment to humanitarian aid and political mediation for Palestinians, urging the U.S. to play a constructive role in alleviating the suffering in Gaza. Bilateral cooperation. Both sides reportedly discussed the future of U.S. military presence in Qatar and broader security collaboration in the Gulf. Dinner diplomacy. Analysts quickly dubbed the gathering dinner diplomacy. Unlike formal summits or press-covered state visits, this was a private, informal setting, signaling warmth and personal engagement. The Qatari mission's celebratory tone on X highlighted the success of the evening. "Great dinner with POTUS" may have been a brief remark, but it conveyed a message: Qatar and the U.S. are actively building bridges at a time of heightened crisis. Possible outcomes and strategic implications. Experts argue that the meeting could reshape dynamics in several ways. For the United States, Washington now has an opportunity to reassure Qatar while signaling to Israel that actions undermining US-backed peace processes will not be tolerated. For Qatar, Doha will intensify its diplomatic outreach, likely strengthening ties not only with Washington but also with other allies like Turkey and Iran to reinforce its sovereignty. For the Palestinian question, given Qatar's historical role in supporting Palestinians, its direct involvement with U.S. leadership could push the Palestinian cause higher on Washington's agenda. For global politics, the dinner signaled that Qatar, though small in size, is no minor player. It is increasingly positioning itself as a central actor in Middle Eastern geopolitics. Analysts' views. International analysts offered diverse interpretations. Dr. James Robbins, a Middle East expert based in Washington, noted, "This meeting shows that Qatar is no longer just a mediator in the conflict, it is becoming a central player in its own right." Meanwhile, Arab commentator Khalid al-Otaibi suggested, renewed Qatar-US engagement may restore some balance to regional politics, but Israel's hardline policies remain the biggest obstacle.